Jesus doesn't just say no one can see the kingdom of God. He says no one can see the kingdom of God unless he is born again. And Nicodemus doesn't understand what Jesus means. He says, how can someone be born again when they're old? How can they enter their mother's womb again? In other words, how can someone do this thing that needs to happen for them to enter the kingdom of God, O wise teacher? It seems impossible for anyone to do this. And Jesus' answer, of course, is no one can do it. Only God can do it. Only God can give rebirth. It's impossible for humanity to do this to itself. Only God can do it to humanity. That's what Jesus goes on to explain in the next verses 5 to 8. That's our second point. Rebirth is solely God's work. Jesus begins his explanation to Nicodemus by noting that rebirth for entry into God's kingdom involves water and spirit. Now, in all likelihood, that is a reference to Ezekiel chapter 36, a passage wherein God explains how life is possible given death is the ever-present result of sin. How can there be life if we are all doomed to death because of our sinful nature? Well, here's what God says through Ezekiel. Chapter 36, verses 25 onwards. I will sprinkle clean water on you, and you will be clean. I will cleanse you from all your impurities and your idols. I will give you a new heart and put a new spirit in you. I will remove from you your heart of stone and give you a heart of flesh. And I will put my spirit in you and move you to follow my decrees and be careful to my laws. Then you will live in the land I gave your ancestors. You will be my people, and I will be your God. Jesus references here, or hints at, the fact that cleansing by water and spirit was always the means by which God's people would be in communion with him. That's how you deal with the death problem that comes because of the sinful nature. God needs to do it. He needs to clean the heart and replace it. And it's comprehensive, this cleansing and this spirit indwelling. It's a full heart replacement. It's the sinful nature, the heart of stone. It's not upgraded. It's not given a boost. It's ripped out, and a new one is put in. That's what's necessary for life in the face of death that comes as a result of the sinful nature. And that is something that only God can do. Jesus makes that point even more clearly in verse 6. He says, flesh gives birth to flesh, but the Spirit gives birth to spirit. In other words, fleshly human ways only bring about more of the same, more flesh. Human effort is not the way of solving the problem of the human nature that can't see Jesus for who he is. Spiritual intervention is necessary. Flesh only gives birth to flesh. That's the only thing that is effective in breaking this cycle. Jesus' comment about the Spirit in the wind in verse 8 makes that point again. Let's read it once more. The wind blows where it pleases. You hear its sound, but you cannot tell where it comes from or where it is going. So it is with everyone born of the Spirit. The Spirit blows wherever it pleases. Its effects are felt, but it cannot be made to go one way or the other. Rebirth that is necessary for saving belief is all God's efforts. It comes when he wants, as he wants, and its effects are felt where he wants, when he wants, as he wants. God must give rebirth, and he is the only one that can do it.